Hey royalties, let me give you my personal list of best cultivation manhwa. So, who are cultivators? Cultivators are people with power beyond mortal bodies. They can flatten mountains with a punch or split the seas with a single swing of sword. Some even go as far as wanting to swallow the sun and moon. Today's Manhwa recommendations are all about these monsters called cultivators. Some of the MCs here are crazily overpowered, while some start as weak as chicken among these monsters. Without any further ado, let's start. Our first recommendation is Reborn as a scholar. In this manhwa, our protagonist used to be a ruthless warrior, hated by many and feared by all. His bloodthirsty rampage comes to an end during a fierce battle with a monk. But he got a second chance and reincarnated as Junwoo Hwang, the eldest son of the revered Lord of Suju. His new dad wants him to become a great scholar, but no amount of studying can take away his love of martial arts and the thrill of battling in danger. If you are new to reading manhwa, then I promise you that this manhwa will ignite your blazing heart for Muram-based comics. The artwork and fight scene in this manhwa will keep you glued from chapter to chapter. As for the storyline, I don't have to say much, just check it out and come later to thank me. Next, we have the world after the fall. In this manhwa, humans were summoned into a tower to become walkers and fight for the survival of the world. They desperately cleared the tower until they reached floor 77, where they discovered a stone that could allow them to regress into the past. Now walkers could go back to the past. Slowly, everyone left until humanity's last hope Carpe Diem was formed. This was a group formed by the people who refused to abandon the world. Even so, most of them still gave up when in extreme danger, until only our protagonist Yiwen was left to continue the fight. This is an intense manhwa that is worth reading, and it deserves to be among top-tier works. Though I don't like most of the monsters drawn, the artwork is quite excellent. Next, we have Transcension Academy. If there has ever been a manhwa I have been eager to recommend on this channel from the moment it was created, then it is Transcension Academy. This manhwa, just like Solo Leveling, has a main character who is among F-rank hunters struggling to make it in life. In this manhwa, our main character, who had been working hard to pay his dead parents' debt and to save enough money to attend a hunter academy, ended up spending all his savings on surgery after an unfortunate accident. In this moment of despair, where all he could think of was how to struggle and save again, he suddenly receives an ad that requires him to spend the little money he had to feed for a few days, and in exchange, he could join an unknown academy that teaches only the transcendent. Though he thought that this ad was a scam, he chose to try his luck, and luckily for him, it was the only academy with teachers like Hercules, the great sage Sun Wukong, the wizard Merlin, and many figures like Susanoo. This is an incredible manhwa not to miss out. The artwork is out of this world, but what I find more impressive is the heart of the author that shows in the storyline. Next, we have the S-classes that I raised. In this thrilling action-packed manhwa, our main character happens to be one of those miserable F-rankers. However, his younger brother is one of the strongest S-class hunters, but sadly they did not have a good relationship after they awakened. One day, when our miserable MC snuck into a dungeon, even though his little brother had forbidden him from doing so, he nearly died, but his little brother came on time and saved him. Unfortunately, both the little brother and the boss died in this fight, leaving only our MC as the one who cleared the dungeon. Thankfully, he got a chance to go back into the past with an S-rank skill to nurture 50 S-class hunters. This manhwa is quite good with a decent storyline, and the artwork and power of the side characters are out of this world. If you haven't checked this out, then you are missing out on a unique manhwa. Next, we have the Eternal Supreme. One of the strongest martial emperors, Gu Feiyang, passed away in the Tianding Mountains and was reincarnated 15 years later as Li Yongxiao, embarking on a heaven-defying journey against the innumerable geniuses of the current timeline. Though he was the fourth strongest person on the continent before dying, this time he wanted to reach the ultimate martial arts level that had not been reached on the continent. This cultivation manhwa is quite different from the usual story we see. The MC here is quite shameless, and his philosophy never ceases to amaze me. If you're looking for a decent manhwa to read, then consider checking it out. Next, we have Rise from Rubble. When a massive monster tide swept through the city 8 years ago, our MC's father was jailed for deserting his position. Now, he has resolved to clear his father's name and save him from execution, but that is easier said than done, given that he is a low-level fighter despised for being a traitor's son. However, things take an unexpected turn when he is betrayed by his party and abandoned in a monster lair. Even though our main character's wounds were healed the moment his cheat system activated, an unexpected challenge came knocking at his door. And that is the information about what had happened 8 years ago being buried within a deadly restricted area filled with high-level creatures. This is a crazy revenge manhwa packed with action. The artwork is also top-notch, coupled with good character development. So, do check it out. Next, we have Library to Heaven's Path. This manhwa follows the story of our MC Zhang Xuan, who finds himself becoming an instructor after entering another universe. A secret library system called Library of Heaven's Path then appears in his mind along with his Transcension. A book on objects' flaws will be automatically compiled in the library as long as it is something he has seen, whether it is a human or an object. As a result of this, he becomes a formidable instructor that defies common sense. This is another manual with a decent and unique storyline. However, if you do not like manual with long discussion panels, then this is not for you. The artwork of this manhwa perfectly complements the storyline, so do give it a try. Next, we have Player Who Can't Level Up. In this manhwa, our protagonist Kim Kiju received an invitation to become a player in the tower, and so he thought his struggles were over. But no matter how hard he tried, he just can't seem to progress beyond level 1. But soon, he discovers his ability to bond with egos during an accident, and his stats start improving after 5 years of working as a guide on the tower's lower floors. With this ability, he starts to aggressively climb the tower. This is an incredible manhwa that could have beaten solo leveling. Sadly, it was not given the development and attention it required to become a top manhwa. However, it is still among decent dungeon-based manhwa to read. Next, we have Nano Machine. If the thought of having science fiction flash in Miram World is thrilling to you, then this is for you. In this manhwa, our MC is the illegitimate son of the leader of the Heavenly Demon cult. His mother was not from any prominent clan within the cult. Even though she was the most loved one by the cult leader, she was seen as a mere commoner by the official wives and the prominent clans backing them. The weak MC had no ambitions whatsoever to vie for the position of future cult leader. However, his half-siblings decided to eliminate him as a show of power to stop each other. Thankfully, before the assassins could kill him, his descendant from the future appeared to rescue him. His descendant then injected him with the Nano Machine, making it possible for him to turn the tables. He then starts his nefarious plan of gaining power and getting revenge on the ones who caused the death of his mother. This manhwa is quite interesting with an incredible plot. As for the artwork, it is done in a way that accurately brings the beauty of the plots. Next, we have All Hail the Sect Leader. Here is another lucky earthling who transmigrated into the cultivation world and gets a system with a quest to build a powerful sect. Our protagonist Jun Cheng Sao found himself reincarnating into the body of the solo member of the Iron Bone sect. Not only has he become the sect master by default, but the sect is also the lowest sect in the area. The system then asks him to build the strongest sect on the continent within 1,000 years. If he fails to complete the quest, his body and soul will be blown to pieces by the bomb the system bound on him. He then embarks on a journey to build a sect with abnormally powerful disciples, as he believes that he will become a godfather on the continent as long as he has powerful disciples. This manhwa is amazing with a plot that is filled with comedy, and watching the main character grow and adapt to this dog-eat-dog world is quite fulfilling. Next, we have history's #1 founder. This is probably the manhwa to read when you are going through something. In this manhwa, our main character was transmigrated into a cultivation world filled with crazily overpowered individuals. Luckily, he got an overpowered system, but this system gave him a task that seemed almost impossible to complete. Not only is the main quest to create the strongest sect that has ever existed, but all his disciples must be first-rate talents in cultivation. Haha, in this world those powerful clans will stop at nothing to even recruit second-rate talents, talk less of first-rate talents. This is an incredible manhwa that I strongly recommend reading. Though the main character started extremely weak as a chicken, he is probably the main character with the strongest mental strength ever. Next, we have Martial Peak. True manhwa lovers will tell you that they have probably 10 times more from Martial Peak than Naruto. Even though it is not a goat like Naruto, Martial Peak with its 3,600 chapters is manhwa that will stretch your mind and your perspective if you are an introvert like me. In this manhwa, martial arts reigns supreme and High Heaven Pavilion does not accept weaklings. Therefore, their learning environment is designed for the survival of the fittest. Our protagonist Yonkei was among the weakest students waiting to be expelled. One day, he chanced upon a mysterious wordless black book that changed his life from a weak and insignificant fellow to an aspiring invincible master who seeks to stand at the summit of martial arts. Based on the number of these chapters alone, you can tell that this is an incredible history not to miss. So, do check it out. Next, we have Martial Arts Reign. Among his fellow mates, Yimeng, the rising star of Family Yi, is considered a genius. But his envious relatives deceived him, severing his meridians, impairing his capabilities, and mercilessly shackling him. Even so, Yimeng never gives up since he will do anything to exact revenge on the Huang family for the murder of his parents. However, he is unaware that he is viewed by Family Yi as a nuisance and that a massive plot is about to reveal itself. This is an incredible manhwa with good character development. Even though the translation was a bit messy at the beginning, it got better after a few chapters, and I have read every single one of its 600+ chapters. This is the only manhwa where you would see the funniest dragon. Next, we have Magic Emperor. As the Demon Emperor, Zhuo Yifan used his millennia-old wisdom and strength to overcome all his opponents until the day he was betrayed. But he managed to reincarnate with his last breath into the body of a pitiful young servant. The servant has a spirit tie with his young lady Luo. This spell made our MC to be oddly attached to her. However, as a Demon Emperor, he decided to work towards breaking this spell. His first step is to make this declining family into a top powerhouse on the continent. This is another manhwa that I strongly recommend to every subscriber on my channel. This is a manhwa that will open your eyes to psychological warfare. Though I'm not advising you to be evil, you need to know about how tricky people can be in order to protect yourself. So, make sure to put this Manhwa on your read list. Next, we have Banished Disciples Counterattack. Since its initial publication, this cultivation Manhwa has completed over 450 chapters. Chen, the main character, had committed his life to defending his sacred sect's medical field. However, the medicine he was guarding was taken during an uninvited battle with his enemies, and even his allegiance to the sect was insufficient to keep him out of trouble. He was ruthlessly betrayed and was banished from the sect. Chen then decides to become a stronger cultivator after he is accidentally hit by a meteorite. This is one of my favorite manhwa, though the translator did not do a good job on some chapters. If you are looking for a manhwa where the author is ruthless towards the MC, then this is a must-read manhwa. Next, we have Tales of Gods and Demons. The narrative spans more than 500 chapters and chronicles the adventures of Lele, a formidable demon spiritualist who lost his life in combat and was reborn as a younger version of himself who retained all of his memories. Lele sets out to become the greatest spiritualist and vanquish his opponents who have previously defeated him, using his knowledge of the future to alter both his own and his loved one's destiny. The series is renowned for its complex world building, well-rounded characters, and gripping plot that is hyper-enticing. Moreover, the artwork is excellent, featuring intricate illustrations that vividly depict the Manhwa's world. Next, we have Peerless Battle Spirit. In the magnificent continent of Kunlun, strength reigns supreme. Martial artists, through the use of martial spirits, communicate with nature, entering the path of self-cultivation. Strong cultivators on this continent are able to annihilate mountains and rivers with a single strike. And in a barren corner of this continent was our MC. He was considered trash because of the martial spirit he awoke, though he was a genius who excelled in comprehending martial arts. One day he was struck by lightning and unexpectedly gained a divine battle spirit. With the help of this battle spirit, he set on the road to become invincible and challenge the gods. Next, we have Invincible at the start. This manhwa follows the journey of our protagonist Chen Chang'an. He was constantly chased around by innumerable monsters, demons, and ghosts alike. They crave his holy body because eating him would grant them immortality. One day, when a female ghost wanted to devour him, he awakens the Invincible domain system. With it, he stays in his domain to grow incredibly invincible. If you are looking for a manhwa with an incredibly overpowered main character right from the beginning, then this is it. The fight scenes and artwork are out of this world. Next, we have F-Class Destiny Hunter. In a world where destiny decides the ability one awakens, Seo Gangram is born with the worst destiny. Though he awakened as a hunter, he was at the very bottom of the bottom. However, one day when he and his guild were ambushed and everyone died protecting him, he awakened the power of destiny stealing. Thanks to it, he obtained the power of regression. Right before the assassin killed him, he activated the one-time use regression skill and regressed to the past. This manhwa was quite hidden from readers because of the trashy banner, but it is an incredible dungeon-based manhwa as good as ORV. The artwork and storyline perfectly complement each other. Next, we have Extraordinary Evolution. The protagonist of this manhwa is a teenage boy named Ming, who has white dust, the least impressive of the 5 levels of superpowers. Our protagonist was riding his bike on a deserted highway when a catastrophe comet with the codename Goddess came into the sky and crashed with him. Goddess later manifested as a spirit and bestowed upon him a strong super skill. With the addition of his original trash skill, Ming progressively advances toward his objective of being the strongest person, while also slowly learning more about the nature of the cosmos. Next, we have the 31st piece turns the table. It is yet again another story about gods and demons playing games with human lives. Thankfully, this manhwa has a different plot compared to the usual challenging towers, dungeons, or the likes of the omniscient reader's viewpoint. Though it has a lot that's similar to ORV, it is only at the fundamental level. In this manhwa, our main character has been having dreams from the age of 5, and in those dreams, he kept playing a game with masked individuals, until he got beaten up like hell on the day when the game was supposed to go live. It turned out that he was playing the game with gods, and the said game was supposed to create madness in the human world. They planned this so that they could use the despair of human beings to restore their divine powers. After they discovered that our main character was immortal, he was tortured and sent back to Earth. Enraged and feeling betrayed, the main character vowed to complete the game and take his revenge on the gods, even though they built the game in a way to make it impossible to clear. This is an incredible manhwa, especially recommended for people who love manhwa with puzzling plots. The artwork is incredible and excellently complements the storyline. Next, we have Moonslayer. If you are a fan of MMORPG-based manhwa, then this is for you. In this manhwa, our main character's older brother disappeared while playing a game. To find him, our main character joined the gaming company and carefully searched for clues. After 2 years in the company, he found the clues he wanted and also created cheat codes for himself. After this, he enters the game to look for his brother, but something unexpected happens and he becomes a skeleton and is unable to log out of the game. As if everything was against him, he found himself on a map filled with bosses who were millions of times stronger than him. Most of these bosses have not even been introduced to the game yet. This is an insane manhwa for MMORPG lovers. I personally like how the artwork was excellently drawn. Next, we have SSS-class Suicide Hunter. If you've read dungeon-based manhwas, then you know why an SSS-class is considered absolutely invincible. This manhwa follows the story of our protagonist, who wanted to become an SSS-class hunter so bad that the system couldn't help but give him a chance. He got an S-rank skill that allows him to copy the skill of whoever he kills. This manhwa's MC was probably the most unsightly lame protagonist I've ever seen. However, as the story progresses, he becomes more likable as he discovers more about life at the top. This manhwa is quite an incredible work, and the art is also awesome. Next, we have Global Martial Arts. This one has a fairly high rating as well. What if we combine martial arts in the isekai genre? It sounds fantastic, I know. The plot of this manhwa centers on an adolescent who is reborn into a different reality, a world in which martial arts rule supreme. Do you think this might be a little too much for him? To get him through all of this, there is a system in place. Most people are tired of this system-based manhwa by now. This one, though, is a little different. The system does not entirely depend on the MC. He works out hard and studies. The art style is also pretty neat, so it is a pleasant read. Next, we have Chronicles of Heavenly Demon. This is another insane revenge manhwa not to miss. Our MC in this manhwa and his master got killed unjustly. He and his master are members of the Spear Master sect. This sect can only have 2 people max because of their overpowered spearmanship. After they were killed, the artifact of their sect sent his soul out and he was reincarnated in the body of a small boy. This boy was currently undergoing training under the demonic cult. Our MC laid low and practiced hard to get his revenge. This was the very first Mira manhwa that I read, so I highly recommend it because without it catching my attention, I would probably not be reading Mira manhwa. Next, we have My Disciples Are All Big Villains. In this manhwa, our MC transmigrated into the body of an old man at the end of his road. Not only was this old man the patriarch of the Heavenly Demon Pavilion, but he was also the biggest villain who had raised 9 disciples. Each of his disciples was a renowned villain vicious enough to even calculate their master. As soon as our MC woke up in his body, they were besieged by the top 10 experts in this world. Now, our MC is faced with enemies both outside and inside, on top of this body being weak with only a few days worth of life energy. Thankfully, he got a system, and with it, he set to defend his new place and reform the villainous disciple. I strongly recommend this manhwa as it doesn't have boring cultivation panels. The artwork and fight scenes are really amazing, coupled with a bit of comedy. Next, we have Swallowed Star. In this manhwa, our protagonist Luo Feng finds himself in a post-apocalyptic world full of sentient monsters. He then resolves to become a warrior, progressively improving as he overcomes numerous challenges. However, his voyage is marred by carnage when he encounters foes far more powerful than himself. Swallowed Star is a must-read action manhwa with its heart-pounding action, futuristic setting, and compelling storyline. The artwork and storyline complement each other well, and seeing the main character evolve from nothing is very satisfying. So, go ahead and check it out. Next, we have Martial God Regress to Level 2. Can you talk about dungeon-based manhwa in this day and age while leaving behind elements from games? Impossible, and the same goes for Martial God Regress to Level 2. The BattleNet game, which was seen as just another game, turned into humanity's nightmare. After the release of the Space League, the game turned into a survival game for all organisms in the universe, and mankind represented by Earth kept failing until it was deemed worthless. Upon this decision, humanity was deleted from existence, but our MC could not be deleted. This was because his skill Nameless Divine Art resisted deletion. The gods then saw potential in him and sent him back into the past with his memories. This manhwa is incredible, with a fast-paced story without leaving out any important information. The artwork is also incredible, so do check it out. Next, we have Warrior Guard. Do you guys not believe that romance improves everything? Even within the manhwa universe, when romance is added, every genre is enhanced. The plot of Warrior Guard centers on 2 destined lovers. They set out on their quest to become the most formidable warriors in the Jianghu area. Okay, this manhwa's primary theme is romance, but we'll read it as long as martial arts are involved, right guys? You'll have no trouble reading this manhwa because of its neat art style. Next, we have the demonic master of Mount Kunlun. The true heavenly demon devoted his entire life to tidying up the mess left by his vengeful father. However, he passed away a year after ascending to the demon cult's throne. He is granted a second chance by fate. When he wakes up, he is an abandoned baby, but a Mount Kunlun sect elder quickly comes to get him. This time, he will enjoy life on his terms rather than using it as a tool for other people. You won't even realize how quickly the excellent pacing and plot will have you scrolling for the next chapter. The more you read, the more you come to like the strange-looking artwork. Lastly, we have Beyond Myriads of People. This manhwa follows the adventure of our main character Yifeng. He gets transmigrated into a cultivation world and his system tells him that he is unable to cultivate. So, it pushes him to complete tasks such as painting, cooking, and training in raw martial arts. Unknown to him, he is actually the strongest existence in the world. On the other hand, other people can tell that he is an existence beyond their imagination, while he insists that he is a mortal who cannot cultivate. This manhwa is filled with comedy as the MC creates a sect full of weirdos. His disciples cultivate powers similar to other Manhwa main characters like One Punch Man, One Piece characters, and many more. If you are looking for something to laugh, then this is the Manhwa you are looking for. Now that I have given you this list, let me know in the comments section the name of your favorite Manhwa. Do not forget to like and share this video with your friends. They might be looking for a new Manhwa to read. Peace out.